Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. Did you know that there is a very real connection between the gastrointestinal system and fibromyalgia? Every fibromyalgia patient that I have ever seen has had some kind of gastrointestinal issue, whether it's gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, or full-blown irritable bowel syndrome or celiac disease. There is a very distinct connection between fibromyalgia and poor gut function. And I'm hoping that you can see this after we're done with these next two videos. Have you ever wondered why people get butterflies in their stomach before they go on stage? Or why a job interview can cause an attack of stomach cramps? Or why antidepressants targeted for the brain can cause nausea or abdominal upset in millions of people who take them across the country? The reason for this is the body has two brains, if you will. The familiar one housed in the skull, and the lesser known but very important one found in the human gut. The two brains are interconnected. When one gets upset, the other can too. The gut's brain is known as the enteric nervous system. You don't really hear a lot about that. It's located in sheaths of tissue lining the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestines, and the colon. Now, considered a single entity, it is a network of neurons, neurotransmitters, and proteins that send messages between neurons, support cells like those found in the brain, and a complex circuitry that enables it to act independently, learn, remember, and as the saying goes, produce gut instincts. The brain in the gut plays a huge role in human happiness and distress. However, very few people know it even exists. For years, people who had ulcers, problems swallowing, or chronic abdominal pain were told that their problems were imaginary, emotional, and simply all in their heads. They were sent to psychiatrists for treatment. Now, that sounds a whole lot like the way fibromyalgia sufferers have been treated for the last 20 years. So nearly every substance that runs and controls the brain has shown up in the gut. See, major neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, glutamine, or glutamate, norepinephrine, nitric oxide are there in the gut. 24 small brain proteins called neuropeptides are in the gut, as are major cells of the immune system. This is the picture seen by the developmental biologist. A clump of tissue called the neural crest forms early in the womb. One section turns into the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord. The other migrates to become the enteric nervous system. Only later are the two nervous systems connected via a cable called the vagus nerve. So until recently, people thought that the gut's muscles and sensory nerves were wired directly to the brain and that the brain controlled the gut through these two pathways that either increase or decrease rates of activity. The gut was said to be a tube with simple reflexes. The trouble is, no one bothered to count the nerve fibers in the gut. When they did, they were surprised to find that the gut contains 100 million neurons. That's more than the spinal cord. Now, with this little bit of information, do you think that it's important to talk about the gut and how it relates to fibromyalgia? It's said that the gut contains 70% of the immune system. And if your gut were spread out, it would cover a surface area as large as a football field. So gastrointestinal dysfunctions are the most overlooked and, I will say, mismanaged disorders in the healthcare industry today. Traditional healthcare providers are seriously lacking in their ability to diagnose and identify functional gastrointestinal patterns. They are simply not trained to provide adequate lifestyle and dietary support, and they have trouble linking the web of patterns that create systemic disorders associated with gastrointestinal function. The identification and treatment of gastrointestinal disorders is definitely doomed to fail if the treatment involves drugs like anti-inflammatories, antacids, or enteric nervous system inhibiting agents. See, these approaches definitely don't address the underlying causes or triggers for these dysfunctions. Instead, the drugs are simply trying to give immediate and temporary relief to cover the symptoms. The problem is people stay on them for life. The main problem with the modern medical or allopathic approach to GI function or dysfunction is that it's based on the emphasis of suppressing symptoms versus really improving GI function by removing triggers, which ultimately is the cause. This approach only leads to chronic dependence on medications that actually prevent the gut tract from optimal health. On the next video, we're going to move on from the foundation I've just laid and look a little deeper into the role of gut function as it relates to fibromyalgia. I'm going to show you how it relates to mood, energy, brain function, thyroid, adrenal, and hormone function, food sensitivities, autoimmune diseases, and of course, fibromyalgia. So we'll talk soon.